As he was wrapping up and helping Georgia sign the #1 recruiting class in the 2024 cycle, head coach Kirby Smart sat down with former Bulldog quarterback DJ Shockley to talk about his recruiting class and basically give the reasons why he has turned Georgia into a college football power. He talked about the keys to success. Here's what he had to say, and I think Georgia fans are really gonna like this, especially the ones who think the transfer portal and NIL are just going to ruin not only Georgia football, but college football in general. Here's what he said. He said, you want to find them, sign them, and develop them. That's been the keys to our success, having developmental players along the line of scrimmage. Yes, they're going to go out and get a wide receiver from the transfer portal, probably sooner than later. They already have one from London Humphreys at Vanderbilt. Might add another running back here soon. But at the end of the day, Kirby's basically saying, hey, this is still a line of scrimmage game. And if you look back, Georgia's only loss this year came to Alabama, and it's the only game they lost in the trenches. He knew that this cycle, probably years ago, he said, you know what, 2024, that might be the class where we need to load up both on the offensive line and defensive line. And that's where he gets to a point where, you get those big guys up front on both sides and you develop those guys. That's going to be the key to your team. It's still a line of scrimmage game. I know you have to have excellent quarterback play and have some things go your way. You have to be deep, right? From top to bottom, full roster, quality talent. But at the end of the day, if you're getting pushed backwards, you're not going to protect the quarterback. And if you can't get after the quarterback, dude's going to pick you apart, right? And you're not going to be able to stop the run. I mean, the list goes on and on why you need an elite offensive line. And he goes back. I mean, he could give examples left and right if you asked him, but I'm going to do it for him. Everyone remembers Jordan Davis, right? 3-star, massive project a few years ago in that 2018 class. A lot of schools said, he's too big, he's out of shape, he's not athletic enough, too much of a project. He can't help us right now. Kirby said, come on, big man. We'll coach you up. We'll develop you. We love your potential. And obviously, he turned into one of the best defensive linemen in Georgia Bulldog history. Devonta Wyatt, low-level 4-star, turned into a first-round pick because he got developed at Georgia. Azeez Ojulari, really good player towards the bottom of that 2018 class. An excellent pass rusher. He was a big deal, made a lot of plays for the Dogs, but he was behind Brenton Cox. And occasionally, you do have a guy like Brenton Cox and a Jermaine Johnson who, they play at Georgia for a little bit, but it's not for them. They're not making an impact. They don't, really like, the program vibe, the tough competitiveness, or they just feel like they should be playing more elsewhere. So they leave. But for the most part, these guys are developing. They took a 5-star Nolan Smith, turned him into a first-round pick. They took a 5-star Trayvon Walker, made him better, turned him into the #1 overall pick. Jalen Carter was a 5-star out of high school. He got better at Georgia. You can say the same thing on the offensive line. Andrew Thomas. Well, first off, Kirby's very lucky that he has had so many elite offensive linemen come out through the state of Georgia since he's taken the job in 2016. He signed Andrew Thomas, maybe the best left tackle in school history. That was just in his second year, 2017. Signed Andrew Thomas, was phenomenal. First-round pick, one of the best tackles in the NFL. Jawari Sawyer, year after that in 2018. Very good player. A very good player. An all-time damn good dog, right? National champion, big-time player. Justin Schaefer, not super great, but he was a homegrown kid who got better and helped Georgia win that first national championship. Broderick Jones out of Lithonia, first-round pick, 2-year starter at left tackle. Tate Ratledge, who we think might be coming back for next year. He played at Rome, right? Nearby kid who's been a multi-year starter. Marius Mims could be a first-round pick at right tackle. So, yes, he's lucky that he's had guys nearby to recruit who are already very good. All of these guys got better at Georgia, and that's Kirby's plan. He goes, we don't want to use the transfer portal more than we need to, like other programs. I mean, 20 guys leave, 20 guys come in. He's like, no. Especially on the offense and defensive line. We want to find guys that fit what we do best. Guys who want to come in and learn and develop, change their body type around if they come in too big, right? Everything is at Georgia. They've got all the resources to turn these 5-stars and 3-stars into big-time prospects. And yes, sometimes a kid or two will leave, but it's pretty rare you see that on the offensive line and defensive line, especially at a place like Georgia. He also said this. He goes, we want to sign a complete class. You want balance. You basically want to sign an offense and a defense in every recruiting class. This year was centered around the offense and defensive lines. It's hard to find quality big men in the transfer portal. That's their goal, right? To go out and find these big high school kids that they can take and mold and put them through the strength and conditioning program, the nutrition program, and then coach them on the field. And then, again, the list is longer than what I said earlier, but it's dude after dude after dude. They get to Georgia, they do the work, they put in the effort, and this staff turns them out. And not only are they winning, but a lot of these guys in the trenches are going on to play in the NFL. And that's why it's easy for Stacey Searles to go up to New Jersey and tell Nair Daniels, 6'8", 370, hey, this is what we can do for you. I know y'all probably don't follow maybe SEC, Georgia football, but you come here and we're going to take care of you. Said the same thing, went out to Illinois and got Marquise Easley. Big guy, Michael Ewini out of Texas. And when you can go into a home and sit down with, this kid's parents, friends, other family, whoever in that living room, and you say, hey, this guy came to us, we turned him into a first-round pick. So did this guy, this guy, this guy. That's what makes Georgia different. It's what makes Georgia special. And I know this is a different era of college football where you got to score points, high flying, throwing the ball all over the place, spread offenses, right? And that's what programs want to do that don't have elite players in the trenches. But Dina and I talk about this all the time. We can tell pregame usually walking around the state. Well, normally Georgia wins every game, right? I'm not saying that because I covered it. It's the truth. Occasionally they'll slip up to Alabama, but for the most part, Georgia's better than everyone. And they'll probably be better than almost everyone again next year. But when the game is kind of up in the air, maybe Georgia might pull this one out if they don't play their best. When you walk around and watch them warm up, you can look at the opposing team. Just look at their alignment, offense and defense. And sometimes I'm like, man, there's no way they can compete and play with the dogs on the offensive line in the trenches. There's no way. You can just look and tell. Alabama's a different story. Alabama's got those big, just mountain dudes, right? Mountain of men type of giant guys. They match Georgia's physicality and size on the offense and defensive line. Not a whole lot of other programs can. Alabama and Georgia can. That's why they're the two best programs in the country. I don't care that Georgia is not in the playoffs. They should be. One of the best four teams. They're still probably the number two. Until Alabama wins another one, Georgia might be the number one program still. But that's just my opinion. And again, it starts with the trenches, and that's what Kirby Smart said. He said, as far as the line of scrimmage goes, we want to go out, we want to get our guys, find them, sign them, and develop them. That has been the key to Kirby's success at Georgia for the last 7 years, right? This isn't something that he just tried a couple years ago. Right? He did this in 2017, and that offensive line was very good. That defensive line was solid, and it almost led them to a national championship. But he knew from day one, this Georgia program needs more guys. They need more beef. They need more athleticism with size on both sides of the line of scrimmage. Georgia was getting beat in the trenches consistently in those last few years of Mark Richt. And Kirby changed that. And he goes, you know what? Even now with the portal, we don't want to go get an offensive lineman out of the portal. We want our guys to be in the program year after year and get better and better and better. Same with the defensive line. You have to be a certain level of athlete and have a certain level of size if you want to play on the defensive line at Georgia. And they've got those guys. They need more. They need a couple defensive linemen in the portal. That's why they took 6. They need quality depth. And next year, I'm not sure if Jordan Hall's going to be really good. Jamal Jarrett's going to be really good. They still have Michael Williams. They still have a few guys. I don't know if they have any, killers, those game changers just yet, but that's the goal. He said, we want to go out, find them, sign them, develop them, turn them into first-round picks. That's how you win on the recruiting trail, when you have a resume of guys and you can list that off every time you go into a living room. But it's also how you win championships. He knows that. And Georgia has become an elite program. They're very good. They compete for national titles, or at least in the hunts, right, in the conversation at the end of the year, every single year. And it starts on the line of scrimmage, and it starts with their philosophy of how they want to recruit, how they want to get after players, how they want to hit the transfer portal with other, areas of the team, other positions. But if you talk about the offensive and defensive line, the staff knows what they're doing. They got 6 on the offensive line, 6 on the defensive line, and they're guys that they're hoping will stay in the program, develop year after year after year, and turn into big-time impact players, guys who can beat Alabama. That's the only program that's beaten Georgia right now in the last 3 years. They're the only one. And you beat Alabama with size and athleticism in the trenches. If you don't beat them in the trenches, you don't win the line of scrimmage, you're not going to beat those guys. Georgia's trying to do that, and I think they are well on their way to possibly getting the edge over Alabama. They might do it next year. It's going to be tough at Tuscaloosa, but we'll see. Eventually, Kirby will knock off the Tide again, and if they do, it's probably because of not only good quarterback play, but excellent play on both sides of the ball in the trenches. Thanks for watching this video. Really appreciate it. Sign up to our free newsletter. That link is down below. Hope to see you over on the website.